welcome back. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Griha. Now, the table of the Waqf Amendment Bill 2024 report in the Parliament triggered a political storm with heated clashes between the government and the opposition. Now, amid the uproar, the Rajya Sabha accepted the Joint Parliamentary Committee report, but the controversy still rages on. Congress chief and leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge, slammed the report as fake, demanding it be sent back unless the opposition MP's dissent notes were included in it. Now, countering this attack, Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju rejected the allegations, calling them misleading and insisting that all dissent notes had in fact been attached to the JPC report. In fact, Home Minister Amit Shah also weighed in, backing Rijiju and clarifying that the government had no objection to the inclusion of the dissent notes. Now, with tempers flaring and no sign of a compromise, the battle over the Waqf JPC report is far from over. So as this showdown over the JPC report on the Waqf Amendment Bill rages on, here's looking at the allegations and the counter-allegations. So here's what the opposition is alleging firstly. They are saying that they won't be accepting a fake JPC report on Waqf. To that, the centre is responding that there has been no deletion in the JPC report. Now, another charge by the opposition is that there is a deliberate deletion of dissent notes, to which the centre counters by saying that all the dissent notes are very much attached to the report. Another allegation by the opposition is that the Waqf bill is unconstitutional. The amendments are unconstitutional. That's what the opposition says. To that, the centre is countering and claiming that the opposition is trying to mislead the parliament. Another allegation by the opposition is that they are saying that all the voices of the opposition are being muzzled by the centre, to which the centre has responded that these allegations are absolutely baseless. So we are asking on Plain Speak this evening, amid this Waqf showdown in Sansad, have the dissents really been deleted, or what the opposition really is claiming is a mere hogwash?
ऐसे फर्जी रिपोर्ट को हम कभी नहीं मानेंगे।
हमारे जो डिसेंट नोट में कई पेजेस और पैराग्राफ्स को रिडैक्ट कर दिया गया है।
मैं मेरी पार्टी की ओर से आपको विनती करना चाहता हूं कि विपक्ष के जो डिस्प्यूट्स हैं, एक सिरनीर कर आप संसदीय कार्यप्रणालिका के उपयुक्त रूप में जो जोड़ना है वो जोड़े। इसमें मेरी पार्टी को कोई आपत्ति नहीं।
Every view, whether those who are considered by majority or those who are rejected by the majority, all reports are included.
Joining me on the broadcast this evening, Pradeep Bhandari, national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, is with us right here in the CNN News 18 studio. Also joining us is Mahima Singh, who's the spokesperson of the Congress. And last but not the least, Rashid Kidwai, who's a senior journalist, also joins us. Pradeep, I'll begin with you. Dissenting over dissent notes, what's the truth as per the BJP?
Well, the truth, as per the JPC chairman who gave an interview to CNN News 18, and I quote the JPC chairman's interview on CNN News 18, 281-page dissent note is attached. This is the longest dissent note attached in any JPC report till date, point number one. Point number two, the JPC has taken 1.5 crore responses, 92.5 lakh applications, 38 meetings, 250 plus organizational meetings. Even after this, if the opposition, in particular the Congress party, which wants to appease its vote bank by these theatrics, still wants to add further in the dissent note, as the Honorable Home Minister clarified it on the floor of the House, we are open to it. The issue here is that the Congress party is going against the Constitution of India, which was implemented by Baba Saheb Bhimrao Ambedkar ji, by these theatrics. It is not about Hindu-Muslim, it is about justice. Even Muslims today want Waqf Amendment Act because they are right now the victims. For instance, in Maharashtra, Pune, 135 Muslim families land has been taken by the Waqf land mafia. And if you do not believe us, please believe the Sachar committee report, which was at the Sachar committee which was formed by the UPA, and I quote the Sachar committee which said that there is a need for better utilization of Waqf properties. So if the Congress party opposes it, it is opposing the Constitution of India and its letter and spirit.
Pradeep, you have preempted already the kind of negations that might be coming in on your views. But Mahima, let me bring you in here. Appeasement and unconstitutional politics that is at play here. That is the charge by the Bharatiya Janata Party. How do you respond?
Jai Hind, the Bharatiya Janata Party is interestingly talking of transparency. The very intent for bringing this bill as per the Bharatiya Janata Party is that they want to bring about transparency. Whereas all you see in their mode of acting towards these fundamental rights of various minorities in this country is opacity and obscurity, Griha. So, you see, that is where the question arises. Today, our Honorable President of the Congress Party, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, has raised very significant points on the floor of the Parliament. He has raised questions about those dissenting notes that have been deleted. Now, the BJP spokesperson can present all talks on your show, but what has been spoken on the floor of the Parliament, there's some very critical matrix to it. Also, you see, there's a 15-11 majority in the JPC report. The dissent has totally been overlooked by the Bharatiya Janata Party. The members of that Joint Parliamentary Committee had been requesting for some very critical documents to analyze before they can arrive at some conclusions. Those were not provided to those members of that JPC. Constitutional rights are being directly attacked as a matter of fact through this kind of amendment that has been brought about. The Waqf Bill Act has been amended in the past, but only for good. Now, for example, Griha, what is the point of bringing non-Muslims on these boards when we are not treating other religious bodies in a similar manner?
But my point is, was this not discussed in the JPC? JPC had stakeholders from all the political parties. Was this not discussed before this report was really collated?
That's exactly what I'm saying, that there are matters that have been discussed in the JPC that have not been brought on record. There are dissent notes that have completely been ignored, rather deleted, as Mr. Kharge. And I think the BJP spokesperson must speak very responsibly when he comments upon these dissent notes, because Mr. Kharge is amongst one of the senior most members of the House, one of the most elected, for the most number
he's
of
calling it
times.
fake. He's calling the report that's been tabled fake.
With utmost responsibility, Griha, and I think we must heed that. When leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha speaks, we must listen. We must not we must not ignore it just because it doesn't suit our own narrative.
Okay.
I think as responsible citizens of the country, it is a matter of fact and we must heed it. Let the ruling party come clean on that.
All right. I'll let Pradeep quickly respond before I go to Mr.
Well, the
Rashid.
leader of opposition does not have the veto on the proceedings of the House, and the leader of the opposition, if it walks away from his constitutional duty, we have the constitutional right to question the leader of opposition. Point number one, why are non-Muslims on the board? I believe that, Mahima, you should give a call to Mr. Kharge, who comes from Karnataka, and in Karnataka, in Vijaypura district, more than 1,000 farmers' land has been taken by the Waqf. And please go and read the Constitution and principles of natural justice, where the accused does the logic of the Constitution is that if you grab my land, you have to prove it. You have to prove it. In the Waqf, it's the other way round. So you are going against the principle of natural justice, and read the section 85 of the Waqf Act, which bars civil court jurisdiction. In order to appease your Muslim vote bank, you are trying to oppose the Waqf Amendment Act, Mahima. And I'll tell you why we are getting non-Muslims, because in Kerala, from where your parliamentarians come from, 600 families, majority of them are from the Christian community, are still going from one pillar to the other because the Waqf has grabbed their land. You know why we are getting non-Muslims also, Mahima? Because Waqf has claimed on Mahakumbh, Waqf has claimed on Parliament of India. So please remove your black goggles and look in reality.
That's a major claim that you're making,
Yeah,
Pradeep.
yeah,
it's
Waqf
all
claiming
there.
on Parliament and also the Mahakumbh. Yes, okay, Mahima, quick response because Mr. Kidwa is waiting.
Yeah, you see, this government approaches the fundamental rights of this country's citizens very, very casually. And that is why they end up doing...
You have taken the fundamental
Let her
rights during the time of
Let her
emergency,
respond.
Mahima.
Let her respond now. Yes,
You see,
Mahima.
this is the problem. This is the problem. The Bharatiya Janata Party and its representatives do not believe in consensus, do not believe in taking under view all the viewpoints. That's what we are seeing on your debate on your channel here also right now.
Mahima, he's
Griha.
categorically
What
talking
we are-
about
points we are
the
making-
land grab in Karnataka. He's spoken about Kerala, and these are the two examples of non-BJP ruled states. Karnataka, particularly a Congress ruled state. How do you counter it? Because you just mentioned about the inclusion of non-Muslim members onto the board of the Waqf and how the opposition is not one with that idea. And this is what has come in as a counter by the Bharatiya Janata Party. I wonder why and how Pradeep does that answer that question, but I'd let Mahima, in fact, respond.
Yeah. Griha, you see, Shri K.C. Venugopal, one of our very senior members of parliament, has in fact said today, and I will quote it here, that by removing the Waqf by use clause through this amendment, there will be dispute of each and every mosque which has no land deal record, and so on and so forth. There are so many points to ponder over. But the point is, this party, this ruling regime, doesn't want to record the voices of dissent. Rather, they want to trample them. That is what we have seen while they are approaching this very critical issue. I think amendments have, whenever these amendments have been done in the past, they have been done to empower the Waqf Council.
Wow.
They have been done to change the composition of Waqf boards.
Can I answer?
They have been done to survey and document the Waqf properties.
lying
They have been
blatantly
done
on
to
her
restrict
show.
transaction of
There has been serious aspersions that have, Pradeep, I'll come to you. There have been serious aspersions that's been cast as far as the Waqf and the rulings of the Waqf, especially in the state of Karnataka, and you know that too, Mahima. And the Siddaramaiah administration has a lot of answering to do when it comes to that. But before we go further into that, let me bring in Mr. Kidwai, because he's been very, very patiently waiting. Mr. Rashid Kidwai, I'd like to understand from you. First, there is an accusation that's coming in from the opposition that all the dissent notes do not find a mention in this report, and hence the tabling is null and void. It's a fake report that's being submitted. Now, there is a opposition, there's a counter that's coming in from the center where they are saying that dissent notes are pretty much there, and if at all you want to point out on what is missing, go ahead and point it out. Then where do you think has been the problem? Why this opposition walkout?
So, Grant, it is a problem as well, both procedural as well as political. The concept of JPC is that when you have a joint parliamentary committee, you have members cutting across party lines, giving their inputs. Now, the issue is not about dissent. Thing is, if your views are not included, if there is just as a part of annexure, it will not make any qualitative difference on the law that is being enacted. So that is a thing that there is a procedural aspect that you can say that, okay, all, dissent notes have been compiled or, used as annexure, but if they don't find place in the actual piece of legislation, it would not mean anything. Now comes to the Waqf Act per se. There is
But before you go to that, Mr. Kidwai, before you go to that, I'd like to first understand, can the JPC chairperson, Mr. Jagdambika Pal, unilaterally take this decision that certain dissent notes had unparliamentary language and that's why they are being done away with? They would not find a mention. Is that the normal parlance, normal precedence? Is this how things work here?
There is no normalcy. That is a problem. There is no normalcy because the concept of this committee system is that it's a process of give and take. Like you say something, I say something, and we agree to disagree. We agree to agree on some point. And so that process is not there because there is a fortress approach on the part of opposition as well as on the part of ruling dispensation, and that is where the laws are being brought on a political spectrum, where there is a sort of a very false and a very harmful narrative sought to be projected. For instance, the very fact that the Waqf land, as you understand, belongs to government. It doesn't belong to community. If there has been a mismanagement of Waqf property in any part of the country, it is a failure of that particular, state apparatus, the bureaucracy, and the people who are doing it. So, but our impression is sought to be given that here is a sort of, Muslim or minorities who are sitting over this 9 lakh acres of land and all. This is a very harmful, and I said it's an absolute false narrative. Just one small point I want to make, because, a lot of it is being said about that the spirit of it, there should be inclusion of women and non-Muslims, all point taken. See, in Shahbano judgment, when it came, when Rajiv Gandhi government enacted, Muslim Women Protection Act, to allow the divorced Muslim women to get some kind of support, maintenance from the Waqf board. So it was given that 500 rupees can be given by the Waqf board. You will be surprised, you may not even be born then. Till now, successive, so many governments have come, including 11 years of Narendra Modi government. There is not a single instance where, a divorced Muslim woman has got any funding from the Waqf. Now, whose fault is it? Is it a community's fault or the government's fault? Successive governments. The Congress was in Uttar Pradesh, last time was in governance, was in 89. Since 89, Congress has been out of power. So how can, everything be put on Congress doorsteps?
Okay. Okay. Pradeep, would you like to answer that? One particular thing that Mr. Kidwai mentions is the fortress approach that the centre and the opposition are working with when it comes to these committees. He says there is no precedence whatsoever. Sab apni marzi ke kar rahe hain.
Well, Mr. Kidwai forgot to also tell that it was Mr. Rajiv Gandhi who, under the pressure of the radical Maulanas, had to overturn and pass from the parliament on what happened in the Shah Bano case. We all remember that. Please, Mr. Kidwai, speak the reality on Shah Bano. Mr. Rajiv Gandhi was responsible for denying the Muslim women their rights. That is the only truth of Shah Bano case. You also know it, I also know it, and the people of India also know it. I want to go to the principle of it. The principle of it is here that what was the first transfer of the Waqf land? The first transfer of the Waqf land happened in 1185 when Muhammad Ghori transferred 2 villages to Jama Masjid Multan.
You're still not answering my question. I am asking you about precedence. I asked you about JPC chairperson who's taken a decision.
It is all passed by majority. That is the law. It is not.
Then why the walkout, Pradeep?
Because he is passing away from the constitutional responsibility. Please tell me any time in the past in the parliament the opposition has walked out after their demand has been agreed by the speaker. I challenge this to Mahima if she can reiterate one instance in the history of Indian Parliament. The opposition asked for a further dissent
Mahima,
note.
your response, I'll close this.
And agreed by. Please tell us.
You see, the BJP spokesperson, of course, will, design a conundrum after conundrum because they don't want to get to the straight point that why are they not recording dissent notes? Why are they not
lying on your show? I beg to differ. No, you are lying, Mahima. You are lying.
Let her get it. All right, Mahima, quickly, 10 seconds. Pradeep, let her respond. I have to close this. Mahima, 10 seconds. Please respond.
You see, this is what. I will not play on the pitch set by the BJP spokesperson. What I am questioning is why is this government and the Congress party, our senior most leader has questioned today, why is this government acting with opacity and in unconstitutional manner?
It's going about in circles. I'd like to thank all my guests for joining us on the broadcast. I'm really sorry, Pradeep, we are out of time because this is where it is, gone down to. Dissenting over dissent notes. What really is the truth? No one knows. There's a walkout that's been staged by the opposition over the matter. Thank you so much for watching.